Hello, hello, my dear. How are you on this fine, rainy, cold Monday?
Yeah, it actually rained here in Texas too, till about 10:30, and then we started to get blue skies, and by this afternoon, it was really pretty out. It was I don't think did you guys get rid of your rain or no?
No, it was still raining and dreary when the sun went down, and last I knew it was like felt like 40 degrees outside. So hopefully it doesn't get too cold that it freezes, but
Yeah.
welcome
Yeah.
everyone and welcome Instagram.
Yes, welcome Instagram. Welcome to the folks on YouTube, on Twitch, on Rumble, on iHeartRadio, on hold on, drawn a blank, Spotify and Apple, and 3 Facebook pages and 2 Instagrams. So there we go.
Welcome, welcome, friends.
So how was your Monday?
It was good. It wasn't too bad. Typical Monday. A little rush this evening, but I've had a couple great coaching calls, so I'm not complaining. I've had a pretty good day, but you've had an exciting day. So
I have had an interesting day to say the least. So it was time for me to go get blood work again. And so I had made the appointment for 9:15 this morning. One of the things that I have always been is a very horrible stick. Um, they try to draw blood multiple times. Like I've even been told to leave
yeah,
facilities. You remember that? They were
yep.
like, because they couldn't get blood, and they're like, "Nope, sorry, we're not doing it anymore. You have to go somewhere else." And I had to leave and go find another place for the blood draw. And even they had trouble. They finally got it after I was dangling my arm down. It was an ordeal. It's always been an ordeal, right? So, and it causes a lot of anxiety because I always have to gear myself up for here we go again. How many sticks is it going to take to? Is that a commercial? How many? Oh, it was how many licks to get to
Yeah.
the center of a
Dinner.
Tootsie Pop. That's it. Anyway, that's not what I was doing. It's how many sticks to get blood out of Sherry. So, it's a Monday. What can I say?
Right. W- Welcome, friends. To
Yeah,
this is us. This is the real conversation.
it is. It is. So, anyway, um, but let me back up. The last, how many weeks ago? It's been 3 months ago that I got blood work done initially because I am having thyroid and hormone issues. So we wanted to see what my levels were along with my A1C and vitamin D levels and so forth. So the last time, 3 months ago, when I went, they always tell you to hydrate, right?
Mhm.
Drink, drink water, drink for days, drink. And I've always done that. Um, but I had not done it to the level that I have the last today and 3 months ago, and that is using the hydrogen water bottle. So, and I do that every day anyway. I drink. So I have 3 bottles, glass bottles, sitting outside um, in the sun. So I get solarized water. And then I bring it in every day and I drink them. I pour them into my hydrogen water bottle and then drink that. So I'm going to pause and well, I'll finish. So anyway, and then I'll have you jump in and explain why this is so important. So, um, I went 3 months ago, and guess what? They they got the blood to come out, and I mean, we're talking a lot of tubes I had to fill. Um, and first stick, and it was like no problem. Then, so again, here we go this morning, right? I got up early. I made sure I drank all of the hydrogen water that I could possibly get in me before I left to drive to um, get my labs done. And I warned them, I'm like, I'm a horrible stick. And this gal got me on the first try. And she's like, because I always say, oh, you have to use an infant needle on me, and oh, you have to do this. And she said she used the second to the largest needle on me. What? First try.
Well,
Filled them. Yeah.
well, and to the point of we were on the phone and you got home and your husband's like, "You're home already? How did it go?" I mean,
Hmm.
he was surprised that it was that fast.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, there's just the other aspect I was going to ask you about before I go into, explaining about what
The
hydrogen
why.
water and stuff
Yeah.
is and why. Um, so I remember, what was it, 6 months, year ago, when they did those multiple sticks. I mean, you looked like a pincushion. You had so
Hmm.
many bruises, so much inflammation from it. How has this time and the last time differed in regards of like the bruising and stuff?
No bruising. I can see on my arm now, like a little where the needle, just a little red mark. Um, no bruising, none.
Because you
And
puffed up and you were bruised, and I mean from last time.
oh yeah, yeah,
So
it was bad. Yeah, no, um, no, it's like this little where you can see the little pinprick,
where
but
they
that's
where
it.
they drew the blood, but
Yeah.
so, and the reason why I bring this up is because to refer back of why we are discussing this is so important for lab work or for blood draws, or
Mhm.
just overall hydration of the body, is the hydrogen water helps with the inflammation too. So for those that don't know, we have a couple interviews that we've done with Dr. Paul. Great guy, good friend, love Echo dearly. The whole team there is just wonderful. We do have a code BNC there. They've also got some really good sales. So if anyone is looking, definitely check that out. And I can put a link in the chat for you. But hydrogen water differs from plain water. A lot of people will just drink tap water. Maybe they're drinking, clean filtered water. But the reason why hydrogen water differs is it infuses the molecular hydrogen into the element of the water. So it is adding this hydration to benefit overall body hydration, deeper cellular hydration. The molecular hydrogen, it penetrates the cell membrane. So when we talk with Dr. Paul in regards of hydrogen and just plain water, sure, we can drink water, but you're going to deplete everything, right? The molecular hydrogen gets into the cell. It helps the mitochondria. It breaks through, if you will, that blood barrier, and it gets into like the smallest size. Um, so it what that essentially means is hydrogen water just doesn't hydrate the body like what water does. Water can deplete it, but this delivers the hydration to the cellular level, hence why it was easier to do the blood work, because you are supporting that function of the body, you're
Mhm.
supporting that overall health. But the other side of that is it does help to reduce and uh, neutralize, if you will, a lot of the radicals in the body and the oxidative stress of the body. Which anytime that we can do that, it's going to protect the cells and hold on to that hydration retention a lot better. Um, Electrolytes, minerals, all of that hydration water enhances that absorption. A lot of people that I talk to will talk about being just depleted, right? You can
Mhm.
actually drink too much water and land yourself in the hospital.
Mhm.
The thing with hydrogen water is it is very crucial to ensure that the body is maintaining proper electrolytes. And I can't tell you how many times I've had, people in the community, in the BNC community, will talk about incorporating their hydrogen water and just the difference. It's not like this euphoric feeling, right? Of you drink it and you get this burst of energy like you do with caffeine. But once you start to consume it and then you don't,
Yeah.
it truly makes a difference.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell everyone. I'm like, I love my hydrogen water. I probably drink 30 to 50 ounces of it a day.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah, me too.
but
Oh,
I don't notice. I mean, you can attest. I travel with my hydrogen or my EchoGo. That baby goes with me everywhere.
mhm,
Um, I just take it with me, right? Because that is how important for me getting hydrogen water is. I can do without, my glass jar and going when I travel to solarize the water,
right.
but I travel with my EchoGo.
Mhm,
It's just a whole different ball game when you truly feel hydrated.
mhm,
But that is the reason in regards of proper hydration for the blood work. And like I said, it does help in reducing the inflammation, which is why I
mhm.
asked you about the bruising.
Yeah.
It helps in recovery with athletes and muscles, but it also does help just that daily stress. But you did something else today. We were discussing your blood sugar and another aspect of what we discussed in the BNC you also did today. So what else did you do to
Well
after you did your blood work?
before that, so, because of the way my blood sugar is, and I have the morning dawn effect. So I need to wake up and I need to eat within 30 minutes to an hour upon waking. I have to have a good breakfast. So we're talking about it's usually eggs, bacon, eggs, and I'll make like the egg life wraps but I have to eat. And it might not be a huge amount, but I have to eat because I've seen it time and time again. Wearing my CGM, which is a continuous glucose monitor, um, it literally will stop that rise of the blood sugar in the morning and start trending it down. And I've tested it not eating and seeing how long it takes for that natural for the blood sugar to come down, and it takes hours sometimes for it to come down. But I mean, honestly, people don't realize how important it is to eat breakfast within the first 30 minutes to an hour upon waking, and I know you can, elaborate on that. I'll get to what I did, but this is part of my day, like, because I was fasting and I couldn't eat. So I literally was watching my blood sugar go up. Plus, I had the stress of knowing that who knows what's going to happen when I get my blood drawn. So let me tell you what, my blood sugar was up and it was up pretty good this morning. So I'll let you kind of backtrack on the breakfast and why it's so important to eat within that 30 minutes to an hour upon waking.
Well, there's a lot of hormones that are shifting first thing in the morning, right? And one of those is cortisol. Well, it's not that cortisol is a bad thing. That's what is essentially waking us up, but the circadian alignment is the aspect of calming that because otherwise the body doesn't know if you're waking up to wake up and go to a work day or wake up and go get blood work or what you're waking up for. You could be waking up and trying to outrun a bear, right? And so what is it going to do? It's going to instantly think that you need that quicker energy and it's going to start pumping it from your adrenals.
Mhm.
People even like myself that had Hashimoto's, had a tank thyroid, right, also ended up with adrenal fatigue. I was constantly tired. I was constantly trying to burn the candle at both ends. And the body was trying to support what I was trying to do. And it was just tanking me further. And to where, I was like bottoming out. Right. And once you reassure the body, you give it what it needs, it gets this internal circadian signal that, hey, my day is starting. My body needs to slowly start up, and you're also aligning circadian. So I get very passionate when it comes about the sun and aligning with it, but it will slowly start this, and it all of those morning hormones, right? And then UVA for like serotonin and dopamine, and the HPA HPG axis, and all of this slowly ends up and starts, instead of trying to ramp your body or flipping on a bunch of blue lights first thing in the morning, and it thinking that it's 12 o'clock in the day, and it's
Mhm.
really only 6:30 in the morning. It will just start these natural hormones, instead of, because when we look at the hormones, you have all the normal hormones of the body, functioning hormones of the body, right? And then you end up and you have like cortisol over here. Well, what it will do is it'll bypass all of your sex hormones. Men, it'll bypass your testosterone. It'll start to bypass all of these sex hormones and processes of the body to make cortisol.
Mhm.
And so that's why we start to see people with their hormones tanking. We see men with the testosterone tanking. We end up and we see anxiety. We see mood issues. Is because you've just done bypassed all of that normal making to try and support the body. And you need to create a better routine. And yes, part of that is eating, part of that is relaxing, taking those deep breaths, like I said, getting that internal signal, eating food that is in season, um, and aligning that way, as well as, so a lot of it also stems from the gut, and we'll kind of get into the digestive health when we talk about what you did after.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So, and I did not get to go outside this morning, and it was pouring rain. And don't forget, I live in a travel trailer, so it's not like I can, you know, go outside anyway and kind of stand under. No, it was pouring, like to the point that I'm thinking, am I even going to make it to the drive? It was coming down pretty good. But so I didn't even get the morning light like I normally do. So I'm watching pretty elevated blood sugars this morning. And then I drove it took me about 40 minutes to get to where I was going. How many accidents did I say I seen?
for
Four? Yeah, four accidents on the highway. Um, because people were obviously driving too fast and they were hydroplaning and going in the ditch. So, you know, I make it, and I'm excited because we got first stick and I'm leaving. And so a friend of mine, she had texted me while I was about to go in to get my blood work, and she said, "Hey, do you want to go to yoga today at starts at 11:30, and I'll pick you up at like 9:40." And I was like, "Well, I'm not going to make it back. I'm still, you know, 35, 40 minutes away. So I'll meet you there." So that's what I did. I came back um, and changed, and I drove 23 miles to go to yoga. And so it was very interesting. I never, well, we were talking about this today. I was never one to do yoga, but in the Houston area, um, it would have cost me a lot of money to go to yoga, right? And everything in Houston costs a lot of money. So, um, but here it's not that much really. So I went, and it was, she starts out, well, first, let me start that. So my blood sugar, I checked, I'm wearing that CGM, the continuous glucose monitor, and I checked it. And I'm like, okay, so now I know what it is when we're going to get started to do the 90-minute yoga. And she starts out and she says, we're going to practice silence. Oh, okay. And it was interesting because it's things I know, but things I don't always put into practice. So she said, we are going to, this whole time that we're together, we're going to have periods of silence. And there will be no music playing, there will be nothing. And you have to sit with yourself and uh, talk about. But what really struck me with that was how when you take time to be silent, you heal. And I know that, right? But I forgot that. Nobody, no, most people, um, don't take that time to be silent. And it's sitting still in the quiet and it promotes physical and mental healing because it actually reduces your stress. And then it allows you to start doing self reflection. That's the piece that nobody wants, right? People avoid the silence and the quiet because they don't want to reflect. They don't want to think. We are all running at 110 miles an hour all the time. And it's relaxation is just a key process, right? It's reduces stress. Um, it improves your focus and self awareness. Um, calming the mind also relaxes the body and it reduces muscle tension and that's the physical part of it. And then in the quiet time, it stimulates your creativity because your mind kind of starts to wander into things that you hadn't thought of in a while. So sitting still is a really core component of healing and staying present in the moment. And when she started talking and we're all laying perfectly still, and then she goes, I'm going to stop talking. And she says, you're going to want to fidget and you're going to want to move. You're going to want to, your mind's going to wander and it's going to feel awkward. Stay in the moment, relax, concentrate on relaxing the body. And she had us get into whatever position we wanted to. I'm laying flat, I'm laying flat, I'm relaxed. And it wasn't even about, it was becoming aware of your breathing, nothing, just being aware of breathing and sitting in that silence. And it was awkward at first. It was very, um, it was like, I would be like, oh, oh, my shoulder hurts. I need to adjust my shoulder. And I found myself wanting to fidget. And we're still being silent. Like it's still going on. And I'm thinking, how long are we going to be silent here? And I mean, it's funny because, again, I know this stuff, but doing it is a whole nother thing. Um, and it was so relaxing. And then we would do, it was very a mindful yoga practice. It was a lot of stretching. It was a lot of, it was nothing. And if you can't do certain poses, like, you know, you can modify it. Nobody cares. It was a full class. And then we would get to the point and she would go, okay, here we go again. We're going to be quiet. And at the very end, I think we laid there probably, I don't know, somewhere around 8, 9 minutes, probably. Um, I heard one lady next to me, she sounded like she was starting to breathe heavy and snoring. She was relaxed. But I was so relaxed. And by the time the hour and a half, I was literally having thoughts of, you are so relaxed, you are safe where you're at, you are calm, and you are feeling good. And I was talking to myself like that in my mind, where at the beginning, I'm like, "Oh, my shoulder, and I gotta, and," you know, and then I'm gonna peek my eye out and look and see how is anybody else looking around. Like, it was funny from that to the end where it was like, "Oh, are we done?" Like, "Oh my goodness." Um, and I thought it would be kind of fun for we have people on here right now to take, I don't know, what do you think? 30, 45 seconds and to be totally quiet and to sit. If you're sitting, just relax. But I need everyone to close their eyes. All right. And I'll look at the timer here. So go ahead and close your eyes and sit in the silence. So we're going to start that right now. And that was a minute. So the question is, put this in the chat. Did you feel that awkward feeling? Did you feel like, why are we just sitting here? Like, this is so strange. Did you fight the quiet? And then when we get done, just sit there for another minute and be quiet and still and see how it differs from this go around. So how did you feel, Becky?
Well, considering that I can end up and hear my children that are also up here, right? I have one in the background that he must be playing his computer and drinking, something because all of a sudden he's belching in the other room, and then I have the other child that I could hear going down the stairs. So, um, other than that, it was fine because I am very familiar with working on the parasympathetic work, and we'll go into that. But I had to chuckle when I opened my eyes and I'm watching comments come in, and one of our viewers over on Instagram is Lark, and she's like, "Yeah, when you said close eyes, she's like, probably not while I'm driving."
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, Lark, leave your eyes open, drive careful. But yeah, I had to kind of chuckle with that. So appreciate you guys over there on Instagram for watching. But yeah, it is very hard, and that's one of the things that many people get that racing thought or the monkey mind, as I call it, right? Is
Mhm.
they'll think of, oh, I've got to do dishes, or oh crap, I forgot to do that, or the mind starts to wander, and it doesn't stay focused. It doesn't feel your butt sitting on the chair or your back laying in
Right.
bed, or many people don't even do body scanning, but parasympathetic work is so important
Mhm.
to activate that parasympathetic side of the nervous system, right? that is where we get the rest, the digest, the recovery. But many people are so stuck in fight and flight that they don't know how to respond. They don't know how to end up and control it, because that's what we're used to. That's what our modern life has come to, is constantly being on the go, constantly having action, constantly having, to go, go, go. But that's also why we're dealing with gut issues. We're dealing with so many, burnout, stress, anxiety, physical health issues that can all be related back to this nervous system, or PNS, right? The parasympathetic nervous system. And really just taking that time. And I know we'll discuss a few other things here in a minute, but some of the top things that come to mind for me when I'm working with clients, and I know it does for you too, is the relaxation, the recovery, digestive health, the inflammation side of it. Many people will end up sick. Well, why do you end up sick? Because you've depleted your body, right? This chronic stress can activate the immune system. And so it leads to inflammation. It's linked to all kinds of other health issues, autoimmune issues. Like I said before, my Hashimoto's totally related. And that is one of the biggest things. Like I said, it was easy for me until my children interrupted it. It was easy for me because I take minutes every day, whether I'm sitting outside for sunrise, whether I'm doing my, grounding, just really taking that time. It helps with respiratory. I had asthma. I had heart issues. It helps to improve both of those. So someone even like my husband that has blood pressure issues, so blood pressure, and I know you deal with blood pressure too. Blood pressure, cardiovascular, all of that, this deep, you can even use box breathing. Kevin, in the BNC community, when we do our breathwork meetings, he's got, several aspects, that it helps to regulate and optimize, right, the CO2 and the oxygen exchange. So that'll reduce anxiety, trust me. But it also helps with better sleep, which we know when we get better sleep, that helps with recovery. I mean, there's so many things, but we'll go into, how to activate this in a little bit. But I'll let you finish
Finish my
telling them, telling them about what come of this yoga.
So we got done, and I picked up my this thing, which is, it tells me what my CGM, what my number is. It went down 27 points in an hour and a half. From the time I started to the time we finished, it was 27 points less. My blood sugar went down that much. That's huge. And especially from the stressful morning that I had of not being able to eat. So my cortisol levels kept rising. I was under stressful situation of driving in this horrible rain coming down with these 4 accidents that I passed, and then not knowing if we're going to get the blood to flow into the tubes. It was a stressful morning. And for me to watch it go down, we're talking I was in levels of a normal person. Not that morning, not in the morning this morning, but by the time I got done with yoga, I had normal readings. Um, it was that much of a swing. It was huge swing. But 27 points in an hour and a half of doing mindful, meditative yoga is huge. And I tested that out one time with Kevin, Coach Kevin, with his breath work, and we watched it go down 17 points in a half hour of just breathing, breathing. But it shows you the power of the parasympathetic and what um stress that you don't realize that you walk around with this constant you know stress. And even at the very end when I was laying there, um I realized that I was laying rather stiff even at the end. And as I kept talking to myself, I kept feeling my body start to relax into the mat a little bit more and finally at the end, then it was like, oh darn, are we done? I don't want this to end. Um, I need more of that. But here's the thing: we all need more of that. It's not just me. It's not just you, Becky. It's everybody that's listening to us and watching us. Um, we need more of that quiet time to shut the world down, even if it's for just 2 minutes. I mean, 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes at night. Um, Lay your phone down. Don't, you know, don't get on your phone constantly. And just be quiet. Um, a lot of a lot of thoughts come to mind. In fact, I'm going to do yoga again tomorrow night. Like, who knew that Sherry was going to become some yoga nut? But not really. But but it's addicting because I'm addicted to that relaxation. I'm addicted to see. I have to look beyond the nutrition to heal my body. You had to look beyond nutrition to heal your body. Um, we don't give that enough credence. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of healing to be done when you move beyond because my diet's meticulous. But again, if I'm not getting the right sunlight, if I'm not getting, all the beyonds, the hydrogen water and even the shilajit, just all kinds of stuff, I'm not, my body's stuck. And I've been at this now over 3 years.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this was, like you, this was the piece I was missing.
Yep. Well, and that's where it goes back to, like you said, the beyond nutrition, right? The aspect of the circadian, the aspect of the breath work. Because really, if we look at most people will end up and say, three main circadian regulated hormones. I always put it as four: cortisol, leptin, melatonin, and insulin. And anytime that we can balance those four key hormones, the rest of the body will typically fall into place. But
Mhm.
the parasympathetic also helps to end up and regulate that and the regulate the hormone production. And so when we talk about stress hormone, aka cortisol, right? Chronic stress dysregulates the whole hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal, axis, the HPA axis, right? And so contributing to that is this whole other dysregulation. And so that's why you end up and see your glucose go up. That's why, and I see question in regards to berberine, we'll end up and we'll address that. So anyone else that has questions, definitely put them in the chat, put them in the comments, whether you're over here on YouTube or any of the other socials, we'll end up and we'll grab those. But a lot of people also don't know. They're like, okay, so you're talking about the parasympathetic and you're talking about yoga. What else can I do, right? Maybe I don't have a yoga. I'm in the middle of Nebraska, right? I don't have a yoga within 10 miles of my house. So,
Mhm.
and I know you said you had to drive 23. I could probably drive 30 to get to a yoga, maybe, I think. um, right. So say someone is like me, what can you end up and do? And there's things that you can do free. There's things that you can end up and do, like the breath work, right? We talked about the box breathing, very powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Meditation, mindfulness. I always go out and do my grounding. Anyone that follows me over there on Instagram, you see me doing my grounding. Why? Because spending time in nature and connecting to the earth activates this parasympathetic. You do the yoga, stretching. Maybe you're at home and you just do some simple stretching to stretch out that fascia system of the body. Again, the gentle side of that is going to activate it. Um, Journaling, laughing,
Mhm.
anything along those lines. But the big thing is how we talk to ourselves and the
Yep.
energy that we expose ourselves to. And oh, let me backtrack. tapping. Add tapping in there
Oh,
to the
yeah.
above too, because I use tapping a lot with my clients, so that definitely needs added in there. But the way that we talk to ourselves and the way that others talk around us structures the body.
Mhm.
That is also how we end up when we hold that tension. We draw our shoulders up. We end up and we, clench our body and hold on to that. If you can create that safe feeling, if you can end up and support the aspect of relaxation, that will end up and activate it. And that's why we also become very passionate to the point where we created a journal. We gave you the steps um, to unlock this healing potential, right? We created the affirmations journal for you. We gave you the prompts. We gave you the reasoning. We gave you the process behind the affirmation of how to do it. Because again, many people don't know how to do it. So
Right.
how you end up and use that guide, use that very inexpensive. Use that until you get comfortable doing it yourself. I
Yes.
was not always comfortable doing it myself. I had to rely on another structure until I ended up and I got comfortable. So use our structure until you're comfortable and create your own. Maybe you'll become a yogi, you know, person too, but maybe you'll end up and be like me and, sit outside in the grass and everyone looks at you funny when it's snowing, but you do you.
Well, and I mean, something simple like, okay, so you're driving in your vehicle, um, make that a sanctuary of silence. Crack the window. Get the natural light in there. And no music. No, yeah, you got sounds of other cars, but the sanctuary of silence in your vehicle on a commute is time for you to enjoy that quiet time, and it'll lessen that mental stimulation, and it makes you more aware. And I know that almost sounds woo woo, but that's something free that you can do. Um, Ditch the earbuds, right? Take them out. Yep. Um,
Yep.
Break the habit of walking around with the earbuds in your ears, because that is a constant source of stimulation that you don't realize what it's doing to your body. Um, Again, begin with like 2 minutes. This we're talking free stuff here. 2 minutes of silent time. That's it. Let your mind wander. It doesn't matter what your mind does in that 2 minutes. It's just you're still and you're silent, and you feel your body relax. And as you keep, the takeaways of that is a greater sense of ease and peace. Yeah, I mean, they do say silence is golden for a reason. Um, and again, you know, I just did this weekend the stress management during the holidays, and that was one of the things that we talked about was mindful meditation and how to get yourself out of that stress of the holidays into more of a relaxed state. And one of the things I told my the attendees was you need um, you need to, at some point during between now and New Year's, right? Is you need to make a spot in your house for that quiet time. Give Jingle Bells a break, right? And just be still. Or you can Google um, nature sounds. You can Google the 428 megahertz.
420,
428 or
432,
432, yeah,
432 hertz and
yeah,
higher will end up and help. Yeah. because
Yeah.
when we look at the energy spiral, that is essentially the upper half, if you will. And so it's going
Mhm.
to raise that vibration, right? Loving thoughts, anything, not only the water that you're drinking, but your body will structure. And so even just having that in the background, I have my little,
Mhm.
chi coil or sounds going, right?
Mhm.
And again, it's not one of those that you notice the immediate difference, but I can tell you there's certain things that, my husband's blood pressure and, all these other things, right, have all assisted in it improving. um it's just anything like that that you can do. It doesn't have to be
Yep.
elaborate, it doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be structured.
Right. And I think that's the big takeaway with the BNC community is nobody's in there pushing, oh, you need to buy this $1,000 whatever, right, to heal. We're literally in there going, go walk outside barefoot or go stand on cement, untreated cement, or, you know, that's free. Like, that is amazing stuff. So, anyway, it was a very powerful lesson today for myself um, in watching what stress does to watching what relaxation does, uh, how I could take my body and drink this hydrogen water and get results. Um, and I hope it's a good takeaway for those of you that are listening.
Absolutely. And to go back and grab the question from earlier,
Yes.
if in the last, 10 minutes or so here, if anyone has questions, again, put them in the chat, put them in the comment section. Also, make sure that you are subscribing, make sure you're liking, following us on the other social media platforms, because we go live every Monday. But I also have a special announcement for next week before we end up when we end. So don't leave us just yet.
Yep.
Post those questions. But in regards to the berberine, so can you use berberine instead of eating? Not necessarily.
Mm-mm.
So, and the reason why I say that is berberine, a supplement is not, yes, it will help to drive the glucose down, but it's not going to provide you the same signaling to the body as what the food is going to. So, part of the whole digestive aspect starts with chewing. I've had people ask me, well, can I just end up and drink, a fatty coffee, or can I just drink some bone broth in the morning? The whole aspect starts with the chewing. So the circadian signal starts with that chewing, and it starts in the mouth. Um, Berberine has benefits in other forms. Just be mindful using berberine. And the reason why, especially since you were fasting, then going to get lab work done, many people also don't realize that berberine can end up and create a false positive on lab work
Oh, yeah.
for opioid.
Yeah.
So you don't, if you are using berberine and say you have to go for a drug test for work, make sure that you end up and you make them aware that you are on a berberine supplement, because the similarity of the chemical structure between berberine and certain opioids, it can end up and create that false positive. So there are things that you can end up and do tests, that you can request so that it is more specific, and you have to request those so that you can confirm the results. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're going to end up and be flagged. But that's also the reason why when you went for your lab work, you couldn't necessarily take your supplements or anything before. You had to be truly fasted, and or only water. So
Right.
definitely
Yeah.
be mindful of some of the supplements that you are taking, because they can end up and show up on lab work. And like I said, I personally don't take a bunch of supplements. I do the natural route, but
Mhm.
Did you have any questions before I give the fun announcement for
I
next week?
don't have any questions over on my social media here, so I think I'm excited, but yeah, I think we need to definitely let them know what we have in store next week.
Awesome. Alrighty, friends. So I see you over there on Instagram, and thanks YouTube for hanging out here. Excited for next week because we have Dr. Sean O'Mara coming on. Let me rephrase that. We've got a 90-day MFF challenge happening. So it's meat, fat, and ferments. We will be doing this for December, January, and February. Technically,
Mhm.
it starts November 30th. But when we look at seasonal or we look at ancestral eating, we look at this aspect of not necessarily doing something, 365 days, right? How do we end up when we optimize gut health? How do we optimize eating strategies, body, immune? I mean, there's all sorts of, beneficial aspects of this challenge. But the exciting thing is, like I said, we have Sean O'Mara coming on. He's great. He will talk to us about the importance of microbes in the meat, why it is beneficial to consume meat with the ferments, aka the microbes. But we also have other speakers coming up. So we have Sarah Kleiner in December that will come and talk about, the year-round eating or the circadian side of it. We have Sean Baker in the importance of quality protein, and you can join us. I will be doing a coaching session once every month, so you're getting 3 coaching sessions throughout this challenge with me. We will discuss, all of this. We will discuss all sorts of different cycles of nourishment, fasting, how to gain that leptin sensitivity. You will also get recipes throughout this. So every week I will be kicking out a recipe. Sherry and I have created these recipes. So you'll be getting that. A lot of people are like, I tend to eat the same thing. So we'll be kicking those out. But I'm really excited to kick this off a week from Saturday and create more of a sustainable hormonal balance, gut healthy people throughout this. So join us for the 90-day challenge. There is, here I can end up and put a link up. Like I said, we have all sorts of speakers coming in January and February as well. You won't want to miss it.
Well, and one of the things
So
that we're going to do is we will show so much of the person, our guest, on our YouTube. And then, but inside, when you join uh, the uh, the meat, fats, and fermented 90-day challenge, you inside will be able to do a live Q&A after. So we will cut the YouTube off, and then you'll be able to actually talk with each one of these people and have a Q&A with them, so with our guest speaker. So I'm excited. I can't wait to get started on that.
yeah, it's definitely something that has had a lot of work put into it, a lot of thought put around what guests we bring on, um, to the point where anyone will end up and benefit from it, right? There's
Right.
not specific, oh, you must be carnivore, oh, you must be, right? And
Right.
that's where Sean will talk next week. Like I said, he wealth of information, and he'll end up and discuss the benefits. So that's why I decided to kick off the challenge a week early and bring him on. And then we'll start that following Saturday so everyone can prepare the week after hearing him, get your shopping done, and be ready to go.
Absolutely. Well, this was I don't have any other questions. This was great. was a great day. It was a great learning lesson for me. And my passion is to take even what I learn and impart it, so other people learn from what I go through as well. Um, and we set the tone for the rest of the week now. So do your 2 minutes of quiet and try to do it in the morning and try to do it at night and see if that changes everything, right? Uh,
Yeah,
right? I mean, seriously, it comes down to a whole bunch of things. So anyway, um, this has been fun, Becky.
it has, and hopefully, like you said, they incorporate these practices to and help to restore that balance, and improve their health and their well-being. Because that's what we're out here to do, is just help the average person with getting better and supporting their normal healthy.
I am going to ask that folks do comment and subscribe, because that does help with our algorithms, with getting out there so we can reach more people. We are not sponsored by anyone. We're not paid to be on here. So the more comments and the more subscribe, click that subscribe button. It definitely helps us out. And we definitely appreciate you coming on and joining us each and every week.
Awesome. Thanks, friends, and have a wonderful evening. And we'll see you next week with